From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now!
With full freedom, I declare that I renounce the ministry of Bishop of Rome, successor of St. Peter, entrusted to me by the cardinals on the 19th of April, 2005.
The Pope has resigned. It's the first time in 600 years. His resignation comes as the Catholic Church is facing scrutiny over its handling of the widening priest sexual abuse scandal and its crackdown on liberal nuns. We'll speak with Barbara Blaine of the Survivors Network of those abused by priests and Sister Simone Campbell of the Catholic Social Justice Group Network, which was heavily criticized in the Vatican's report last year. Then, in a Black History Month special, we remember the lives of the legendary civil rights activist, singer, and actor Paul Robeson and his wife, Eslanda.
I have never separated my work as an artist from my work as a human being. I've always put it even more strongly that, to me, my art is always a weapon. It's got to be good art. Othello was a weapon.
We'll speak with historian Barbara Ransby, author of the new book Eslanda, The Large and Unconventional Life of Mrs. Paul Robeson.
You know, both Paul and Essie refused to renounce their radical friends and refused to renounce their own radical views. And again, they paid a price for it. Paul was blacklisted. They lost their house. They had extensive FBI files and so forth.
But first, North Korea's just carried out its largest ever nuclear test. It says the test was done in the face of increased hostility from the United States. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. North Korea is drawing global condemnation for a new underground nuclear test. The North Korean government confirmed the test after seismic activity of 4.9 magnitude was picked up in the Korean peninsula. North Korea had vowed to conduct rocket launches and a U.S.-aimed nuclear test after the UN Security Council resolution tightened sanctions in response to a rocket launch 2 months ago. In a statement, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon condemned the test, calling it, quote, deplorable and a clear and grave violation. The Security Council is holding an emergency session on North Korea later today. We'll have more on this story after headlines. 2 men have been charged in the shooting death of a 15-year-old girl struck by random gunfire just days after taking part in President Obama's inauguration. Hadia Pendleton had recently returned from Washington, where she'd performed with her school marching band during the inaugural festivities. She was laid to rest Saturday at a funeral attended by First Lady Michelle Obama. Police say the suspects are 18- and 20-year-old members of a street gang who opened fire at who they mistakenly thought were gang rivals. The White House, meanwhile, has announced Hadia Pendleton's parents will be among President Obama's guests at tonight's State of the Union. The Obama's Chicago home is about a mile from where Hadia was killed. The Pendletons will be among a number of attendees touched by gun violence. At least 24 Democratic Congress members are bringing victims of gun violence and their families. One Republican guest who's drawing attention, meanwhile, is the singer and gun advocate Ted Nugent, who's attending with Texas Congressmember Steve Stockman. The Secret Service investigated Nugent for making threatening comments about President Obama last year. In one of the latest cases of gun violence, a gunman killed 2 women at a Delaware courthouse Monday before dying in a shootout with police. The gunman was reportedly the father of a man embroiled in a bitter custody dispute with one of the victims. Delaware Police Sergeant Paul Shavak announced the shooting.
A lone gunman walked into the lobby area of the county courthouse and opened fire. Updated information is that I can give you that 2 civilian females were killed in that shooting. 2 Capitol police officers were shot in the exchange of gunfire with that gunman. Their conditions now are non-life threatening. The gunman is dead inside the lobby.
Rebels have seized Syria's largest hydroelectric dam amidst ongoing fighting in the capital, Damascus. The news comes as rebels are also preparing an offensive to seize the eastern city of Deir al-Zor, a move that would bring them control of an entire province for the first time. At least 13 people were killed and dozens wounded, meanwhile, when a bus exploded near Syria's border with Turkey. Speaking at a public event in New York, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon continued to warn Syria is being torn apart.
Fighting rages, sectarian hatred is on the rise. The catastrophe The catalog of war crimes is mounting. Sexual violence is widespread. The destruction systematic. Syria is being torn apart, limb by limb.
Amidst the unrelenting violence, both the Assad regime and the opposition are opening the window to potential negotiations. Responding to a rebel offer for talks in the opposition-controlled north, the Assad regime said Monday it's willing to meet anywhere abroad. In an interview, Assad cabinet member Ali Haidar said he would sit down with opposition leader Moaz al-Khatib, quote, in any foreign city to discuss preparations for a national dialogue. Clashes erupted in Egypt Monday on the second anniversary of the overthrow of longtime dictator Hosni Mubarak. Police fired tear gas and water cannons at groups of demonstrators after thousands marched to the gates of the presidential palace. 2 years after Mubarak's fall, demonstrators are now pressing their new demand for the departure of Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. In Yemen, tens of thousands rallied in the capital Sana'a to mark the 2-year anniversary of the popular uprising that ousted longtime President Ali Abdullah Saleh. Demonstrators called for Saleh to face charges for the killings of protesters and vowed to continue the revolution until their demands are met. Yemen's political groups are due to hold talks on a new constitution beginning next month. Israel's authorized the construction of hundreds of new settler homes in the occupied West Bank just days after President Obama announced an upcoming visit. More than 340 homes have been given the green light in 2 southern West Bank settlements, and another 90 homes have been authorized for a settlement near Ramallah. Senate Democrats are preparing to hold a vote today on the nomination of Defense Secretary hopeful Chuck Hagel, despite Republican opposition. And Republicans won a delay of Hagel's confirmation vote last week after demanding more information on his financial ties. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, meanwhile, has vowed to block votes on both Hagel and CIA nominee John Brennan by invoking the partisan dispute over the deadly attacks on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. Speaking to CBS News, Graham said he would place a hold on the votes unless the White House provides more information on its response to the Benghazi incident.
I don't think we should allow Brennan to go forward for the CIA directorship, Hagel to be confirmed to Secretary of Defense until the White House gives us an accounting. Did the president ever pick up the phone and call anyone in the Libyan government to help these folks? What did the president do?
The Pentagon has announced an expansion of benefits offered to gay and lesbian couples. Members of the military and same-sex relationships will receive full access to base facilities and groups, as well as joint assignments. But a number of benefits will still be denied, including health insurance coverage and on-base housing. Those restrictions are expected to remain in place until the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act is fully repealed. A federal judge has overturned a state law in Arizona barring funding for the reproductive services group Planned Parenthood. The law banned the use of public funds by state or local government to contract with any organization that provides abortions as one of its services. In his ruling, U.S. District Court Judge Neil Wake found the law unlawfully denies Medicaid recipients the right to choose their medical options. Planned Parenthood had won an injunction against the law in October. In a statement, Planned Parenthood of Arizona said, quote, politics should never interfere with a woman's breast exam or birth control. Our health centers are open today, and they will be open tomorrow, they said. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for watching this report from Democracy Now!, your daily independent global news hour. We don't accept advertising or corporate funding, but rather rely on donations from viewers like you. Please make your contribution by visiting democracynow.org. We need your support today to keep bringing you this hard-hitting, in-depth reporting.